Thank you, Chairwoman Napolitano and Ranking Member Rouser. Appreciate the time this afternoon. And I appreciate all of our witnesses being here today, and especially you, Ms. LaBeouf with NOAA. I'm speaking to you today from historic Charleston's historic battery right here in downtown Charleston. And also behind me, right on the water, and actually a little bit further behind me, we began that way, is the South Carolina Department of Natural Resources, where NOAA also has a lab and works with our department here. And while we're not always going to see eye to eye on funding priorities, I know there are some areas where I think we can join together and work together with all of my colleagues here today. And I want to echo how important the work that NOAA does, your organization, in regards to flooding, which is why I'm standing in downtown Charleston this afternoon. 40 years ago, flooding in Charleston, where I'm standing today, averaged about 2 times a year. Today, in 2021, 40 years later, we're seeing over 40 flood incidences of flooding every single year. And it is predicted by 2045, our city is predicted to be hit by coastal flooding up to 180 times per year. Additionally, our region has been hit by several major flooding events over the years, including the 1,000-year flood, which was in October of 2015, Hurricane Matthew in 2016, Hurricane Irma in 2017, and just last week we had a mere tropical storm which caused tremendous flooding throughout our great city. The holy city of Charleston, the original sea level rise, a strategy adopted in 2015, was aided by technical mapping assistance by the Regional Coastal Resilience Grant from NOAA's Office for Coastal Management. The grant was awarded to the South Carolina Sea Grant Consortium on behalf of the Charleston Resilience Network. I've worked with the Office of Coastal Resilience and have been out to the NOAA facility here in Charleston. I've seen the important work that NOAA and your office is doing with the digital coast mapping software, something it was very important to me as a state lawmaker, and even more important now as a member of Congress. Today we're quickly learning that 5-year, 10-year, and further out flood plans are constantly evolving because this issue is rapidly changing, literally on a year-to-year basis. And I look forward to hearing from you on how the administration and your office plans to account for the budgeting needs of cities like Charleston, South Carolina, that are facing ever-growing, ever-changing flooding issues. I also want to add that, as I'm sure you know, the city of Charleston is working closely with the Army Corps of Engineers to propose seawall construction, in which engineers believe they can save the city from long-term impacts of storm surges until and through 2082. We're all eagerly awaiting the Corps' final report to be released and signed. We're hoping will be next month. I hope you'll be able to speak to your office's coordinating strategies also with the Army Corps of Engineers. Again, I appreciate your time today. I see your office at NOAA as critical for the needs of Charleston, of South Carolina, our first congressional district in the entire state of South Carolina. And I would like to invite you down here anytime to come and visit. So with the few moments that we have left on my time on the floor, I certainly would love to hear from you, Ms. LaBeouf, on NOAA and what we could do to help Charleston in our flooding situation here today.
Thank you, Congresswoman Mace. And Charleston is absolutely one of my favorite places in the country, and I share your concern about rising sea levels. In fact, later today, I will be speaking at a media event to release our high tide flooding report for this year. In my home state of Texas, for example, we either tied or broke several records from Galveston to Corpus Christi of more than 20 days of high tide flooding per year. Just 20 years ago, that was 2 to 3 days per year. And you're absolutely right. In Charleston, in Pensacola, we saw more than 14 days of high tide flooding, where just 20 years ago, it was 1 to 2 days. And so absolutely, we are facing some big challenges. And I really appreciate you bringing those up. We do work closely with the Army Corps of Engineers and advise them with regard to sea level rise and inundation risks and projections. We also work closely with the Army Corps on Engineering with Nature, which is a program that they lead to better understand the value of nature-based infrastructure to protect our coastlines and to provide critical habitat for commercially and recreationally viable species. With regard to this budget, we are very keen to make sure that we have the water level sensors in place, that we have high performance computing to be able to predict sea level rise and storm surge risks for all of our coastal communities. For the first time in human history, we must plan infrastructure for conditions that we've not yet seen. We've never had to do that before. And so it is essential that NOAA's predictive capabilities and our observations be put to the task and work with other federal agencies to make sure that our communities are safe and that our federal agencies are able to complete their missions with climate change in mind. So thank you so much. I will absolutely take you up on your offer to come to Charleston. It's been too long.